Hi everyone, my name is Julien Brun. I'm a senior data scientist at NCS, and today I wanted to talk about ecological metadata standards and how they can enable the data reuse. So what I do at NCS is helping environmental scientists to do synthesis science. And really it's at this intersection of collaboration, analysis, and computing. And we are providing the support to those teams to enable the researcher to reuse data while developing open and reproducible analysis. And really, we aim at enabling them to iterate quickly, into being able to integrate new information that they might discover along their project. And also, we promote them to program those workflow to achieve reproducibility, going from the raw data to the harmonized data set that they will need to do their analysis. And we also encourage them to preserve their scientific product that they will be producing, including data and code on data repositories. So kind of closing the loop of the data reuser to data producer. And really, this is for them, for their collaborators, and for their future self to be able to build on the work they will be doing through this project. There are many challenges when you are reusing data, that can maybe fall under the umbrella of data heterogeneity. Data comes in different shape and files. Some are tabular, some are more maybe like geospatial. And a lot of them are reusing independent data models. So meaning the way data is stored can be dependent to the data set itself, or maybe to a site or a specific type of analysis. And often also they use non-harmonized vocabulary that can be ambiguous in the terminology. Here is an example of two tables, and we are wondering, can we merge those two tables together? So we have one that is a lake name, you have one that is a name. We can do some inference if you know the name of the lakes, if the two columns can be aligned and concatenated together. The same for date and time, for example. Some terminology around dates can be very complicated, and that's always a challenge, is to merge this type of data. So luckily, metadata standards can help us to improve the reuse of data. First and foremost, they enable the data discovery. So all the information that is stored in this structured metadata standard can be parsed by machine to expose information that can be leveraged for search engine. They also improve the understanding of the data by helping the scientist or the data producer to generate information in a structured way that people can understand and hopefully reuse. They also therefore enhance the interoperability among data sets by standardizing the way data are described, and often also encouraging a type of structure of organization of tabular data that can help along the way. An example would be you could store metadata in a spreadsheet using different type of color and information. But you can see on the right that if you use the EML metadata standard, you will have a way more structured way of providing this information. And that will help actually to describe the information you did. But there are also challenges that are coming with the use of metadata standard. Often they are more machine than human readable. You might remember the EML example I was giving before, but they are also often nested by nature because they kind of need to integrate a lot of complex data that might have different level with the different data set. For example, describing the project to describing a column, you have some nesting here that is happening. Here's an example of, again, on the left, you have the EML, that is really a schema of XML that helps you to organize your data. And on the right, you will have a table that stores the same information. And a scientist will be, especially in environmental sciences, will be very more interested in manipulating what you have on the right compared to what you have on the left on these slides. And this is something that exists, that is combining the power of the Data One in cyber infrastructure, and more specifically, it's API that lets people to interact with their services in a programmatic way, and have wrapper around that that makes it more user-friendly. That is an R package that lets our user to download data and pass the metadata information from the XML format into the table. So I hope that as you are developing your network and thinking about how to best manage the data, this short presentation will help you to encourage you to choose metadata standard that fits best your needs, to help to organize the metadata and the data reuse. That, think about building on existing cyber infrastructure. How can your network maybe fit in existing cyber infrastructure? API are very useful to let people to access your content in a programmatic way and therefore a more reproducible way. And often those cyber infrastructure have complexity that is necessary to be able to store this information, and developing tools that simplify the interaction with those services is very key for user adoption. With this, I hope that will spark some good conversation, and thank you for your time.